Top of the day, Nobies. We're back. I don't know if you saw our little short the other day, but we got ourselves a moose. Well, we were packing stuff up to head up north to go moose hunting. And then look what walked into the yard. Yeah. Ain't gotta go north. Right here in the yard. Somebody put an arrow in him. That's a shame he's been walking around like that. Now the work begins. Get this thing gutted, quartered, and hung. We got meat for the winter. I'm so excited. Let's cook something.
You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
This episode proudly sponsored by Gnome Domes Alaska, a non-profit workers cooperative offering affordable and sustainable living solutions. Got her all hung up, quartered out. Got about 3/4 of it in a freezer down at the VIP's house. Got the hind quarters, one of the front quarters. We're going to take care of them later. But what we do have, one front quarter, bunch of rib meat, bunch of cutoffs, a lot of strapping and stuff like that. Just a bunch of little pieces that we salvaged from around, bad spots where bullet went in and this poor moose had an arrow sticking out of him. Someone shot him and just let him freaking go. Anyway, he's out of his misery now, and he's going to be going in our belly all winter long. How are we going to do this? Well, like I said, we cut off all those pieces and scraps and stuff, cut them up into stew meat chunks, and then we took the one of the front quarters, took the muscle groups off of it, cut it into stew meat, took all the stuff. If you want to know how to do that, there's plenty of other people out there that have videos on how to butcher and do all that kind of stuff. We ain't the greatest, so I didn't even video it, but we got her done. Best thing about it is the boys pulled through. As soon as that moose went down, all hands on deck, showed up. They got out there, took care of it until it was done. All three of them, the first time they've ever been around a dead moose, first of all. And they got in there, they got blood on them. And yeah, it was great. Awesome to see. And they loved every minute of it. I can't say loved. There were some iffy spots. But anyway, so let's get to cooking, huh? Yeah. What are we going to need? One of the main things you are going to need is what's called a pressure canner. This thing right here. I'll take the lid over, see what it is. Basically, it's heavy-duty aluminum. Whole thing's cast in the machine. This particular brand, which is All-American, does not have any kind of gasket around here, which is really cool. It's a more expensive canner, but it's a metal-to-metal machine seal, so it really seals good. One thing you got to make sure once you first put this thing on, the first time you use it, that's the same place you're always going to put it, which is easy to do. They got a little arrow right here you can line up on the canner. Be good to go. So anyway, that's what we're going to use. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. I've been working on this, well, I put in about 9 hours last night, probably 6 hours today already doing some batches, because it takes from the time I put the lid on until the time I take the lid off about 3 hours per batch. So it goes kind of slow. If we had a bigger canner, same amount of time, get much more done. Working on that. One of these days, we'll have a big one. Until then, we'll be with what we got. Works just fine. Like I said, I've been working on some batches, so I'm going to do this here and show you how I do the stew, because it's real easy. If you like stew, it takes quite a while to make a good batch of stew, a couple hours of simmering. What's awesome about this is all you do is you make your soup or your stew base, whatever favorite one you got, and you take all your ingredients and you put them all in the jars raw. Put your soup base in there, put it in the can, and it cooks inside here. and show you. Now, this is one of the ones I did yesterday. Now, you notice there's a little haze on here. I'll show you how to make sure you don't get that. Because when you're dealing with a pressure canner, your minerals in your water get stuck to it. But all you got to do is put a dash of vinegar in when you start your batch, which I forgot to do with this. That's why you have the haze. But anyway, look at that. All your ingredients are in there. All cooked, ready to go. All you got to do is open this up. Dump it in the pot, warm it up. Get you some nice crusty bread with some good butter. You'll be feasting. Anyway, moose stew. Let's do it. Alrighty, I got these started in here. Now, normally when you're doing these, you want to do a full layer of the same size, and you put one of these deals on top, okay? And basically what this does, it rests on top of that ring that we put on there. And because we back that off, there's a teeny tiny gap in there, and so when this heats up, it pushes all the oxygen out. And once it pushes all the oxygen out, and then it starts cooling down, and as the pressure goes down, it pulls that lid down and seals it, so there's no oxygen, nothing in there, so no bacteria can grow, and that's why it's sealed, and it lasts on the shelf for year after year after year. So anyway, we're gonna have to do some little fancy maneuvering here because this ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to get 4 more of these pints in here, but I've got the solution, and that is these little silicone dealies. That'll go down on top of there, but I'm gonna need 2 hands, so I'll show you when I'm done. All right, so I ended up getting them in there. Probably could fit a couple more in here, but I don't have any ready. And yeah, I just want to finish up this up so I can get back to doing full batches of the same size. So. But none of them are touching. I got about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of water down there. Splash of vinegar. Splash of vinegar keeps your jars from getting this haze all over them. So there you go. Time to put the lid on. Which is this? Yep. Right there. Now what this has got, it's got that arrow right there. That arrow has to line up with that slot. There we go. Let's see, the arrow lines up with the slot. Now all these need to get flipped up, and this, you want to tighten these evenly. So if you're tightening that one, you want to tighten this one. You want to make sure the gap around here is nice and even. And it'll seal perfectly. Alrighty, so basically, I got all these nice and tight, sealed down. Now it's at 0 pressure. Once this thing comes up to heat, once the water starts boiling there, it's gonna push some steam out of that little dealy majabi right there. You want to wait for that to have constant steam coming out of it for about 5 minutes. That way there's no dead air in there, and it's just steam in there. So you build up pressure, and there's no weird pockets going on. So after you get head of steam, you got to get that little weight. And when we looked in the book, it said 90 pounds. Switch hands here. It said 90 pound, or no, I'm sorry, 90 minutes at 10 pounds. Now these weights here have a 10, a 5, and a 15. Now they said 10 pounds. So once that puts a head of steam on there, we're gonna put that on there like that, and that'll maintain it in 10 pounds. And this little gauge right here, yeah, that little gauge right there, I'll make sure that we're right in the zone. And we don't want to get over here into the caution. If we get over here into the caution, big trouble, big boom. Right, while this thing's heating up, don't have that on there. Steam, 5 minutes. We'll be back. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a head of steam coming off of that. And that's been doing that pretty steady for about 5 minutes, so it's time. Make sure it's on number 10. So get on there. Now we'll wait. That weight right there, literally, the weight. Get it? The weight makes us wait. So this goes up to 10. Well, that took about 15 minutes. We got just a little bit of steam popping out of here. This thing will start rattle-tap-tapping here. If it builds up too much pressure. There we are. We're at 10 pounds. As soon as it started steaming and that hit 10 pounds, I started my timer. 90 minutes. We'll be back. And while we're waiting on that, I went ahead and did some cold pack with just straight meat on these. This canner will fit 7 of these on the bottom, and then 8 of these on the top for a full batch. But they're just basically straight full of meat. I put about a half a cup of beef broth, maybe 3/4 of a cup in the big jars, just a little splash in the little ones. It's mainly to make up a lot of the air pockets until the meat starts cooking and fills it all in. But jam that in nice and tight, get as much air out of it as you can, and this will be our next batch. Now this can sit here and wait because this is a cold pack. It'll take a little bit longer to warm up and get going, but it's still the same time, 90 minutes. All right, they're all lidded up. I put a little bit of salt and pepper in each one of those, just a dash. A little more in the bigger ones. But we can sit here and wait till this thing's done rat-a-tat-tatting. Got about another hour left, so I don't want to go put my feet up. Well, it's been about 90 minutes of rat-a-tat-tapping, so time to turn the heat off. Now you want to let this thing cool down on its own. Don't touch it. Don't move it. Don't mess with it. See, the key is with this process is right now, with all that pressure that's been going on and that cooking that's been going on, the steam that's been created inside the jars and inside the canner has pushed all the oxygen out of the jars and the canner. What happens when things get hot? They expand. Now they're cooling down, so they're contracting. So what happens is that lid on the jar, once everything starts cooling down over the next half hour, 45 minutes, the vacuum effect that's inside there is going to seal it shut, and it's going to go pop, and it's going to be good to go. And that's kind of sort of how it works a little bit. Best I can explain to you anyway. So, yeah, we're going to wait. Again, don't touch this. Don't mess with that. You can pull this off and all that steam will come out, but if you do that, the pressure difference and what's happening in here and the drastic drop can break your jars, bust seals in jars, so don't do it. Wait! And while you're waiting, it's a good time to go through and do a nice cleanup, get everything ready for your next round batch, and get your next batch ready to go in the canner. So when you open this up, you get another one going right away. Time is of the essence, because this takes a lot of time. Well, everything's quiet over here. Let's go check it out. Will this thing flip around? I don't know what that just did, but it didn't do nothing. I'll be right back when I flip around. All right, here we go. Okay, we are down to 0. Well, almost. It's, yeah, we might want to wait a second. We can check it here. Yeah, there's a little bit. Better wait another minute or two. All right, it's been about 5 more minutes. That's touching the little pin. A little bit there. Oh, there we go. Pull it off. Make sure that steam comes off. Then we can start unscrewing this and seeing what we have inside. All right, see if I can get a decent angle of taking this apart. These things, you don't need to super tighten them. I mean, that's why they're hand tightener things on here. Don't have to be too crazy. But now that everything's depressurized, ouch. All right. Now another thing, there's still going to be a little bit of steam in here, so you always want to open this up away from you. See that? It's making noise. I think I got a broken jar. Yeah, it sounds like a broken jar. That sucks. Take a look. Boy, it's making some noises. Doesn't look broken. There's some juice down there. I bet you it was just over full. Hopefully. We'll see here, but we're going to try and do this without burning the hell out of ourselves. But gingerly and gently. These out, set them down. Gingerly and gently. I better use 2 hands for this. But, something. See, there's juice there. Gotta figure this out. I bet you this one just. Oh, steam. I bet you either that one. Well, I don't know. We'll find out. Let me put the camera back on the tripod. All right, that's a little better. Let's see what we got going on here. That one looks good. That one looks good. Get these dividers out of here. Yeah, see, I got a little bit of juice there. I think Either from the jar above was a little too full and it spilled out, or this one next to it, the big quart, which I don't think broke. I think it was just too full. Maybe a little more headspace on them bigger jars next time. Live and learn. As long as the jar didn't break, we can still eat it. It's salvageable. We just won't be able to store it. But don't they look pretty? Still bubbling. Alright, let me get these out of here. Alright, I'm thinking it was just an overfill. My fault, because that thing's hissing a little bit. So that one might not seal properly. It did spill a little bit over here. But everything else seems to work okay. Oop. Popping, hear them pop. That's as it's cooling on, the vacuum's going on in there. And watch this. See? Pop. Oh, that one's already in. That'll be in a second. Yeah, as these go off, these pop in. So we got this batch of jars staged and ready to go, but we got a little bit of a mess, so we're gonna have to clean this out. Ooh, excuse me. Get some fresh water in there because we don't want to use that. So it'll be a few more minutes, and then this will be the last batch for the night. All right, there we go. Hopefully that's recording. But we got our fresh water in there, a new splash of vinegar, and these are our straight cold packed meat jars. So it's going to take a little while longer for this batch to get its initial heat up. Everything should be just fine. With this particular canner, 7 quart jars just fits. And you put this lid on right here to separate it. And now, again, the way this lid works is it's resting on the rings that are on here. And because we back those off just a tiny bit, there's enough space for air to get out of there. If this was resting directly on these, it would be too much pressure and the air would never come out of there and it would never camp. So that's the importance of having these rings on here. Also, it keeps the lids in line as all this activity is going on. There's a lot of activity going on in there for that little bit of it. But anyway, so we can put that on there. And we got enough space in there to line up 8 of these little guys. These are all cold packed too. A little bit of beef broth, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. These are perfect lunch snacking size. You can stick one of these in a pack when you're out there on the pond ice fishing this winter. Crack it open with some crackers or some bread. I'm telling you, slap your mama good. Those are in there. Get this on here lined up where it's supposed to be with the mark. Da-dum-da-da. This side, this side. Make sure that gap is even around there. You don't want this tipping one way or the other. It won't work properly. So, even Steven. Tighten them up on opposing sides. There we go. Now look at this, double check. Everything looks pretty good. They don't have to be super tight, just hand tight. That's a good machine seal around there, and the reason, like I said before, you got this line up here is because it always sits back in the right place at the right time. If this was a one turn over, it probably wouldn't seal properly. We'll wait for this to come up, like I said, because it's a little bit colder, and we had to put fresh water in there. It's going to take a little bit longer, probably about 20 minutes for us to get a good head of steam. Then do the same thing, put our weight on there, and wait. But normally, believe it or not, even this one that leaked all that juice out, it's still sealed. All of them sealed. Oh, that one hasn't sealed yet. It's going to, though. Oh, that one hasn't. It's going to, though. But yeah, that was the problem, child, and it's sealed up. It could be just perfectly fine. If not, we're just going to have to eat it. All right, hopefully you can see this. they've been sitting out for about a half an hour off the heat, and they're still boiling. Anybody know why? I can almost touch them. They're hot, but they're definitely not boiling hot. How come it's still boiling and I can still touch it? Let me know down in the bottoms. You know, down there, down the bottoms. All right, Nomies, all said and done. This batch, we got 24. I got a list. Hold on a second. I got a list. We got something on this list here. First of all, it says here, please, if you like this video, hit the like button down there near the bottoms. Who wrote that? Yeah, back, let's see. If you have any questions, leave your comments down there at the bottom. If you want to see more of what we do and stuff like that, it says right here, you need to subscribe right there, somewhere down there on the bottoms. So, anyway. So, what do we end up with this batch? Let's check this out. We got 24 quarts of stew, 24 pints of stew, which makes 36 quarts altogether. We got 24 half pints of just meat and 6 of the quart jars of just meat. And out of all that, only one of them didn't turn out, didn't seal properly. Now this is just perfectly fine. We can eat this right away. You can put it in the refrigerator for 3, 4, 5 days. Cooked just fine. We're gonna end up inviting Forrest's mom and little brother over, and we're gonna make some moose-sketty. What do you think? Alrighty, we're gonna try our first moose feast of moose-sketty. See how the boys like it. Go ahead. I was trying to get you guys digging in, and as soon as I turn the camera on, you guys all freaking scatter. Serve. Now, Forrest, you tried this raw meat or plain meat last night. What'd you think of that stuff?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
Phenomenal, yeah.
It's a delicacy.
Best meat you ever put in your pie hole, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What do you think, Ian? What did you think of that stuff last night? 10 out of 10.
That's great. Next.
Alright, so we'll get Forrest trying to... Alright, let's see here, the moment of truth. Is this as good as the plain meat? What do you think, Forrest? Look at him. Oh, can't even talk. Alright, Danny's turn. You ready? Oh, it's definitely melting your mouth. That's right. What do you think?
Definitely different.
Definitely different.
I like it.
Alright, Ian, your turn. Yeah, try and get a little piece of meat in there. If you can. There you go.
Yeah.
Melts in your mouth, huh? Alright, the verdict's in. Everybody oh, we got one more. One more taste test. Now, this is your first time trying moose at all, right? Yeah, it's a little bit hot. Now, this is Forrest's little brother.
Old Trevor.
Old Trevor. What do you think, Trevor? Really good. All right, got Trevor approval. Nope. You were even there when we were taking care of it out in the woods, huh? Awesome. Cool, man. Glad you could come by and enjoy it with us. Tastes better than cow? Cool. Awesome, man. Okay.
That's not bad.
That's good meat.
It's not gamey at all.
No. Yummy, yummy, huh? Oh, yeah. Well, that's it. Verdict's in. Best meat you ever want to put in your pie hole. I'm a Nomi, he's a Nomi, she's a Nomi, you're a Nomi. Wouldn't you like to be a Nomi? Click the subscribe down on the bottom. Click the like button down on the bottom. Or make a comment down on the bottom. Peace out.